You're listening to Gen XP. Let's play some games.
Previously on the Shattered World of Voar. New to the sky pirate life, Theric and Avo arrived at the Song of Iron and dove headfirst into the crowded streets. The rough-and-tumble tavern, known as the Pit, was quick to welcome them with a duel to the death with a hobgoblin gang member known as Bruno. Acting as security for the officers of the Lonely Horizon, the pair managed to maintain somewhat of a low profile once the bloodshed was out of the way, and finally the business deal ended and they were set to return to the ship. After a few steps into the street, they realized they were being followed, and the chase began. Welcome back to the Shattered World of Voar.
They're hanging back, but they're slowly getting closer, and Captain Fairfax and Quartermaster Hillman are moving at speed trying to figure out how to lose this group. What it's going to be is the four of you, Captain Fairfax, Quartermaster Hillman, and the two of you, Theric and Avo, are going to make skill checks to try to avoid this pursuit. Okay, and it's going to be, you're going to need so many successes before so many failures. So I'm going to leave it up to you. Who would like to go first, or do you want Hillman and Fairfax to go first?
I want to try and vanish in the crowd.
Okay, what skill would you use for that?
Stealth.
Okay, so you're using stealth to get your group to basically get lost in the crowd. All right, give me a skill check.
I'm trying to get me, to help.
Right, this is your
But you're
individual
saying
checks,
group,
but it's
okay.
the skill. It's
Yes.
the group. So
I'm
as
trying
a
to-
group, you're working together.
Then I want to try and use stealth to vanish into the crowd.
Sure. So give me a check.
20.
20. All right. So with Theric's guidance, move here through this alleyway, duck under this tent. The four of you start to quickly make your way through the crowded streets and alleys of the Song of Iron. You know that you're not going the same way you got here, which was a more main thoroughfare, but you're going generally in the direction of the docks. Okay, Theric's gone. Do you want Abo to go next? Do you want
Sure.
Captain Hillman
I'll go.
or Captain Fairfax or Hillman? Okay, what skill would you use?
I'm going to be using athletics to push my way through the...
Okay, so you're brute forcing your way
Yeah.
through the crowd, making room. All right, go ahead and give me a check.
11.
11. Okay, you start pushing people out of the way. You're getting the impression that this is not an uncommon occurrence for just people to be pushy and aggressive in the streets here. And for every person that you push out of the way, someone else pushes back into you, or purposely jams a cart in front of you, or steps in front of you just to kind of give it back to you a little bit. So now I'm going to roll. I'm actually going to have you guys roll. So Captain Fairfax is going to try to use deception to essentially misdirect. He's going to make it look like you're going one way and your group's going to go another way. So, Theric, why don't you roll a die for me and add 5 to it?
23.
23. Okay. That seems to be working, moving your way through the crowd. I will say that Hillman, Quartermaster Hillman, is going to use intimidation. So she's going to basically start dead-eyeing people. She's going to pull a dagger out and just carry it openly while looking at people, making them move. So Avo, give me a d20 plus 5.
8.
8. Okay.
Well, at least one of us is rolling good tonight.
And the other is rolling like shit.
So as you're moving along, you head down a side alleyway, and there's like 3 to 4 different paths that lead into a kind of a cluster of alleys that meet up in a small clearing between buildings. You don't really see the sky from here. That's covered by tarps and drapes and fabrics that are run between buildings. There's ropes and cords that kind of go all over the place. There's barrels and garbage all over the place. And you start to see people that were following you are starting to appear in the mouths of different alleyways. And Captain Fairfax at that point says, "All right, lads, I'll meet you back at the horizon. Let's split up." At which point, Captain Fairfax and Hillman run down one alleyway.
So through the course of our entire time here, have I seen any species flying? Anything flying?
No. The only thing that you've seen that can fly here are the giant bats that you saw that were chained to the top of one of the roofs.
Okay.
So Captain Fairfax and Quartermaster Hillman split off, run down a right side alleyway, leaving you with a left side alleyway. There are people in close pursuit, but now it's the two of you trying to get away together. You can tell me how you want to handle this, okay? My imagination tells me that you might try to outrun this, you might stand and fight, you might try to find someplace to hide. There could be another option that I haven't listed. You tell me how you want to handle this as you rush off down another alleyway.
I say same as kobolds.
Only I want to go all the way back to the ship. I'm not looking to stop and fight.
Neither am I, but
Okay.
I can.
Alright, if
I
you
can
can-
hopefully sneak my own way.
All right, we'll
but
split up.
Watch your back. No.
Then. Or Overwatch.
Watch your back. So when we duck into the alley,
Mhm.
I want to stop and hide in the shadows.
Okay.
Assuming I can get out of the line of vision of the guys I saw come.
Okay. So, Avo, as you race down the alley, kind of dodging trash and ducking underneath tarps, Theric, you take a second once you know you have a line of sight break and just duck behind a large barrel. Go ahead and give me a stealth check.
22.
Okay. So, Theric disappears from behind you as you rush through the alley.
Mhm.
You can hear people running, getting closer, trying to find you. You can hear them talking, kind of yelling back and forth, but you're not sure what language they're speaking in. In fact, neither of you know what language you're talking in. As you run down the alley, Theric, you're hiding behind a large barrel in the shadows. A total of 4 people, four hobgoblins, run past you, trying to catch up to Avo.
Okay. So after they run past me and get a little ways away, I'm just going to cast Disguise Self on myself.
Okay.
Change my appearance so that I look like I can grow about a foot taller. I look like a normal...
You could pass for like a dwarf or a very short
I
human.
look like a dwarf.
Okay.
Okay? And then I'm not going to try and hide. I'm just going to kind of
Run along.
keep up behind them.
Okay. Avo, you're trying to outpace the pursuers, though, correct? So we're going to reset the skills that have been used in skill challenges. So anything's open to you at this point. What would you try to use?
I'm just same thing. Athletics.
Okay. Now you're not running through people. Now it's more like
This is a sprint.
This is a sprint, so you're trying to gain speed and also maneuverability around and over top of
Yes.
objects. Okay. Go ahead and give me an athletics check.
19.
19. So you're vaulting over barrels, sliding under, half walls. At one point you kind of run up the side of one building and jump over a wagon that's kind of tipped on its side that's been used as a shelter. You're doing a good job of outpacing them, but they're still trying to follow you along. Back to Theric, who's now running along behind them in the disguise of a dwarf. Now, you're not right up against the people.
No,
you're just,
I'm just
going in that direction. Are you trying to maintain...
a buffer, you know what I mean? Just,
Are you trying to maintain seeing them?
yes.
Okay. But without drawing attention.
Yes.
Give me a stealth check at disadvantage. Because even though you're disguised... I'll tell you what. Give me a stealth check. I would normally do disadvantage, but because you're disguised, I'll just do straight check. Because I would have given you advantage for the disguise and disadvantage for the fact that you're following a group.
11.
Okay. Avo, you hear them suddenly stop. They were maybe 20 yards behind you. You hear them like crashing through things that you've been vaulting over. You hear them stop, and you hear blades draw.
I look back over my shoulder to see if I can...
Give me a perception check. Theric, as you were rushing along behind them, trying to maintain a buffer, but still be able to see them, at one point your foot catches on basically an old metal bucket and sends it skittering across the alley. One of them looks back, sees you running. You see a moment of confusion on his face, and then he draws a scimitar.
I got a 23.
You see through a break in the tarps and whatnot that are hanging in the alleyway, you see a dwarf way back. And then this group of 4 hobgoblins that was chasing you turn, face this dwarf, and draw blades. Give me an insight check.
I was about to say, do I know it's him?
Give me an insight check, DC 15.
Nope.
Okay. You don't know who the dwarf is or why they'd be drawing blades. You know they were chasing you, the dwarf was nearby, and they're drawing blades on him.
I can't think of a reason that I would stop to.
Okay. So what would you do instead?
Because I have a job to do and it's somebody I don't know.
Right.
Hey, that's my opportunity to get off to the ship, I guess.
So you race off.
Yeah.
Okay. There are 4 hobgoblins about 15 feet from you have stopped and drawn blades as you were running behind them. You come to a halt, or do you run into them?
No, I'm not going to run into them.
Okay.
I'm going to keep my distance. I stop.
So you come to a sliding halt and I think in the distance you see Avo run out of the alleyway and take a right and is gone. You know you're truly on your own right now. The one hobgoblin, a little bit beefier than the other ones, and he's wearing it's like a bandana that sticks out of his shoulder armor. He's wearing like studded leather. When I say bandana, he's got basically like a colored piece of cloth, red cloth that sticks out of his shoulder armor. He steps forward and in Dwarvish, which you don't speak but you recognize, he says something. He kind of he growls at you. He says,
I kind of put a confused look on my face, and I'm like, I wasn't raised among my people.
Give me a deception check.
13.
He looks at you for a second, switches to common, and he says, "Who are you working for? Why are you here?"
Yeah, I'm just interested in what's going on. I want to see a fight.
You've come to the wrong place, then. And
I
it looks
say,
like
weren't
our
you
poor-
chasing somebody through the crowd?
He says, "I'll take no lip from you," and he starts walking towards you with his blades drawn. His blade drawn. His friends are following him. The other 3. And he says, "Since you made us lose him, empty your pockets." And he's closing the distance on you. I won't say rapidly, but he's walking towards you, and you're only about 15 feet apart.
It's when he says empty your pockets, I'm like, just give me a cut. Give me a price.
Make a persuasion check again.
Oh no.
You rolled a 1?
Yeah.
Oh no.
I will throw this out there. Would you like to use your inspiration token, or do you
Yes.
want to save that?
Last time I didn't use my inspiration, we about drowned. Alright, that's a 13.
13. He...
With a straight roll?
I don't have persuasion. I have a plus. Okay, 14.
Okay, 14. He, you say, "Give me a price." He smiles a very nasty smile, and he says, "Give me 10 gold, and I will let you walk away from
Do
here."
they have bows or anything on them?
The 3 that are behind him have javelins across their backs.
Alright. Well, I don't know how this is going to work, but wings are going to spring out from my dwarven form, and
Okay.
I'm going to fly up and over him and be like, see you guys later.
Give me an initiative check as you start to try to flee. He's 10 feet from you right now.
19.
Alright, you will go first. Now, I did say there are tarps and ropes and all sorts of manner of things above you that you're not seeing the sky while you're in these alleys. So, your wings spring out and you leap into the air.
Can I go between the tarts?
So this is going to be an athletics check to try to pilot between the tarp. DC 15 will let you pilot this. So if you make a DC 15 athletics check,
What's rough terrain? Me flying up?
yes.
Okay, because I got to
The
dodge
terrain is rough to get through the ropes, the hanging tarps, and
Okay.
yes. So it would be rough terrain to fly through this, which would normally reduce your speed by half.
From the ranged
Most
attack,
likely,
guys.
you can use a double move.
And
that would get you-
athletics check to fly above the tarp.
So here's the terrain is rough, so it's half speed to move through. If you want to make an athletics check first and you succeed, you make it through on your action or on your movement. That's the movement. Okay. If you don't make it, you can take your action as a move and continue going, and whether you make it or not, you'll get to the top of the tarp. You'll get 30 feet up.
Okay.
So 30 feet up will get you clear of the tarps, just.
But they can't see me, right?
They'd have obscured view of you, and they do have things that they might be able to
Right.
throw through
Javelins.
tarps. Yes. They'd have
Okay.
obscured view of
So
you.
I'll try the athletics check, but I'm not.
Sure. It's a DC 15.
You know.
Yep.
No.
Okay. So your wings spring out and quickly buzz. You leap up into the air, but the ropes, the tarps start to drag on you. You're kind of pushing your way through. Your wings are beating hard, but you're not making as much progress as you'd like. You make it about halfway through them, and then you want to take your action to continue on. Do you want to make an athletics check for this one?
A double. What's an athletics check? I mean, I'm gonna get out with this one no matter.
You're going to
what.
get... So the difference is if you move at half speed again, you'll be a total of 30 feet above the ground.
Right.
If you make an athletics check, you'll be 45 feet.
I'll try, but I mean, there's no reason for me not to try at this point.
Correct. There's no reason not
There's
to
no
do the try.
negatives and only positives.
No, even if you roll a 1, it's not going to be... It's not like I'm going to knock you back down to the ground.
No.
Okay.
Same number.
So you manage to fight your way through, wings buzzing frantically, to the top of the tarp and rope covered alleyway. You see sky for the first time since you entered the alleyway, and just like rooftops that stretch out away from you in every direction, and about maybe a half mile away, the docks. That's as far as you make on your turn. The 3 with javelins are going to throw at disadvantage because they're throwing at you through cover. And the lead one is going to pull a dagger and throw that as well. So it's going to be 4 attacks coming in your direction, all with disadvantage. So first javelin is going to hit a 13.
Miss.
Second javelin is a nat 20. Nope, sorry, disadvantage. It's going to hit a 14.
Miss.
Okay. Third javelin is going to hit a 14.
Miss.
And the dagger is going to hit a 16.
Okay.
Okay. So javelins start. You hear just ripping of fabric as javelins are just whipped up through the air with no regard for where they're going to land if they don't hit you. And you notice that they're just arcing out into like buildings. You hear them clattering and falling to streets. You hear somewhere far away. So they're
I was waiting to hear it.
but as that last javelin whips past you, and you think for a second you're in the clear, a dagger comes twirling up through the tarp and buries itself in, I'm going to say, your thigh for 6 points of damage. At which point it would flip back to your turn, and
I'm
you
gone.
can fly. Are you flying directly to the dock?
I start to fly. If I can turn, I'll turn.
You can turn.
Because they won't see me, hopefully. So.
Right. Once you leave their very limited view, like if you head towards the dock, they're going to know the general direction you went. If you just
Okay.
fly another way and then turn, you're fine.
Right. So I want to fly another way, turn,
Okay.
land, and recast the sky south, and change the way I went.
Okay. Meanwhile, Avo, you've no more sounds of pursuit. Okay. You have lost the hobgoblin party that was chasing you. You're most of the way back to the Lonely Horizon. Give me a...
More at a brisk walk now than a...
Okay, yeah, now that you're... I would say you've probably rejoined, like, roads and paths that have people on them, so sprinting might be more conspicuous than not.
Right.
You still got the bag that you're holding.
Still
And
tucked in.
you have not seen Theric in quite some time, but he did tell you he was going to follow along behind.
Exactly. Which is...
Give me give me a perception check as you are just about back to the horizon.
$22.
Okay. Roll a d6 for me.
5.
Okay. You feel a tug at your pouch, not the one that you're carrying, and look down as a 7 or 8 year old little girl, braids in her hair and just like a dirty dress, is moving away from you with like a sly smile, running off into the crowd, not towards the docks. But you know that she stole something from you.
I don't have much on me. My weapons are on me?
Yeah.
The only thing else I brought with me is coin.
She
Do
did,
I-
You, yeah.
I feel like I still have a decent amount of coin?
How much did you have to begin with?
Got like 28 gold.
I mean, it doesn't feel significantly different.
Okay. I just smile. Good on you, kid.
Yeah, she vanishes
Continue.
back into the crowd and is gone. Theric, you land a few blocks, we'll say. They're not true blocks because this is not arranged that
Right.
way. You land several buildings away in a sheltered space. Quickly cast Disguise Self. This time, instead of being a dwarf, you are a...
Small human.
Okay. Small human, and then what?
I make my way towards the docks.
Okay. At a normal pace, are you trying to rush?
If there's people at a normal pace, but if not, then
So
I
you
wanna
just
rush to a
turn
crowd.
into a human, blend into the crowd, and make
Yep.
your way. Okay. Alrighty. Abo, you get back to the Lonely Horizon. Around the same time, from a different direction than where you came from, you see Quartermaster Hillman and Captain Fairfax coming out of an alleyway. Captain Fairfax has his rapier drawn and is bloody. The rapier is bloody. And Hillman, Quartermaster Hillman, is walking with a dagger sticking in her shoulder, but is just kind of like keeping an eye on things. Doesn't seem that concerned with the dagger at this point. Just getting back to the Lonely Horizon seems like the more important thing to do right now. But they see you as you are nearing the gangplank. They come up on the other side. Captain Fairfax looks to the bag in your arms and then looks around and he says, where is Master Theric?
He should be catching up any time now. We split up. He's a stealthy one.
Fair enough. Well, he says, I'll take that back if you don't mind.
Sure thing.
You hand the bag over, he takes it, starts heading up the gangplank. Quartermaster Hillman kind of nods to you. She reaches up and just
I'm like,
pulls the
"Want
dagger
some
out
help?"
and just throws it off the dock, like into the drift. She just throws it off the dock, and she says, I'll keep an eye out for Theric if you want to head onto the ship. And she pulls her crossbow out.
I can wait along with you.
Fair enough. Once he gets here, though, we're most likely leaving in a hurry.
Sure thing.
Theric, as you're moving through the crowd, nearing the Lonely Horizon, your ears, sensitive as they are, even though there is an audible din around you, that there's always that rush and that clamor, you hear a conversation, a snippet of a conversation from a group a little bit away from you. They're walking in the same direction. It's 3 humans and a dwarf. And you hear something to the effect of, you hear the words Lonely Horizon, and then the next thing you hear is firebomb.
I look at them. Do I see any like
Give me a perception
big
check.
bombs or anything on them? Yeah, no, that's a 7.
It's hard to really gauge them as you're moving through the crowd. They're walking. They're not right next to you. There are people between you and them. Those words just kind of popped out in the conversation and they made sense to you. Or they
How
at least-
far am I from the docks?
You think you'll be there within a minute or two.
I look. I
Take off at a run.
Yep.
Okay. I'm gonna roll to see if that behavior is suspicious at all to anybody around you.
I look like a little kid.
Right. For the time being, you running doesn't draw any shouts or aggressive action. You start running off. You quickly lose sight of the four that were coming, but you make your way quickly through the crowd, and within a moment, break free of the immediate press onto the gangplank or the dock that leads out towards the Lonely Horizon. Quartermaster Hillman and you see a short, maybe 4.5 foot tall human come busting out of the crowd, running at high speed towards the Lonely Horizon.
Your friend already got some of my gold.
So here's the thing. I want to roll initiative. Okay.
Okay.
If Quartermaster Hillman beats you, she's going to shoot at you. So I'm going to tell you what I roll. Quartermaster Hillman gets a 12. So as this human busts out and is just running down the dock, you see Quartermaster Hillman's
Is he a human child, though?
No, like a 4.5 foot tall. It's an adult.
11.
Okay.
So she beat you by 1. So as this 4.5 foot tall short human comes busting out, running at full speed down the dock, you see Quartermaster Hillman. You hear her, Avo. She says, "Here we go." Crossbow comes up, and poof, you hear the arrow whistle. Hits a 17.
Yeah.
Okay.
As I'm pulling out my rapier.
That's 8 points of damage from the heavy crossbow. As the bolt just rips into your shoulder.
So as the bolt rips into my shoulder, I drop my spell and say, "Thanks. There's a firebomb coming," and run up the gangplank.
Okay, so you see the spell shimmer, and the person shrinks down into Theric, still with the bolt stuck in his shoulder. Hillman pales a little bit, and she says, "Not a smart trick. Get on the ship, quick, you firebomb!" And you hear the Lonely Horizon immediately break into movement, people rushing back and forth. You see Webb quickly running the rigging, trying to get things ready to go. You see Ranford starting to wind something up. And you hear First Mate Devereaux, "On the ship! Gangplank up! Let's go!" And within moments, not minutes, the two of you, along with Quartermaster Hillman, rush on. Quartermaster Hillman puts a hand on your back, Theric, and she says, "I'm sorry about that. Thought you were someone else."
I reach up and pull the bolt from my shoulder and hand it to her, and I say, "Thanks."
You notice she takes the bolt and gives you a smile, and that's the first time you've noticed she's also in the same spot that you got shot, has a bleeding wound.
Oh, well then I reach down and pull a dagger out of my thigh.
Okay.
This replaces the one Avo never gave back.
You guys had an interesting time as well, it looks like. The gangplank is pulled back onto the Lonely Horizon. Ropes are cut or cast off. And around then, as the Lonely Horizon starts to drift away from the dock, you see Devereaux has come down onto the deck with his blunderbuss and is priming it while Captain Fairfax is at the wheel spinning it quickly. You see a group of 4 people break into a sprint out of the crowd, running towards the end of the dock, trying to get closer to the ship before it gets too far away. One of them is pulling something out of a pouch.
I will...
They're about 60 feet away.
I'll magic missile the one.
Okay, let's roll initiative. They have a 12.
I have a 17.
I have 7.
I am going to...
So they're 60 feet away running. If they get their turn, they will get within 30 feet of the ship.
Oh, but only one has that.
One has something he's pulling out of the pouch, it looks like.
The one that's pulling whatever it is out of his pouch.
Mm-hmm.
I am going to throw a dart at...
A dart, okay.
Just double check, and I do believe that's going to be...
I'll make you a deal. Do you want to throw the dart at him or the thing he's pulling out of his pouch?
How big is the thing pulling out of the pouch? I can't tell.
A loaf of bread sized. But it would be a disadvantage if you want to throw it at the thing that he's pulling out of his pouch.
Already going to be a disadvantage.
Okay.
They're at long range
I would
for
give
me.
it harsh. I would give it cover then. So I'd make it harder to hit and at disadvantage. It's up to you. You can throw at him at disadvantage, or you can throw at the thing at a much harder to hit armor class.
I'm just going for him.
Okay, go ahead and give me a throw with disadvantage.
It's a miss.
Okay, so
I only needed to roll one.
Avo, a dart comes out of your pocket or your pouch, goes whipping off through the distance, and just kind of tumbles off into nowhere. The four of them that are running kind of start shouting, "Get him! Get close!" And they rush forward. The three that don't have the thing they're pulling out, they actually pull hand axes out and start hurling them towards the ship. So it's Theric, Avo, Devereaux, and Hillman are on the deck and targets for these guys. The three of them that are throwing, one of them, so there's an axe coming towards Theric, Avo, and Hillman. Devereaux is not one of their targets right this second, just on randomness. So the hand axe to you, Theric, hits a 16. Theric hits a 16. So Theric, the hand axe hits a 16. Avo, the hand axe thrown at you, hits a 15. And the one to Hillman misses.
I got hit.
You both got hit? Yeah. So, Theric, you take 6 points of damage, Theric.
I fall down.
Okay.
Good.
You just collapse on the deck. Avo, you take 4 points of damage as the axe bites into your shoulder. You do hear a wet thump and look over and see Theric collapsed on the deck with an axe buried in his ribs. The one that was pulling the object out, Theric, you're unconscious and don't see this, but Avo, you see him pull out essentially a Molotov cocktail, a glass bottle with a rag stuffed into it. He does another movement to get 30 feet closer. He's at the very end of the docks and lights it. So this turn he can't throw it.
But he's within 30 feet?
He's now within about 10 feet of the ship. So I'm going to roll a pilot check real quick for Captain Fairfax to see how much he can move the ship right now before we roll back to the beginning of the initiative.
Okay.
Don't blunderbuss and crossbow get go?
They're going to all go right now. So the ship action is at the end of the initiative. So the ship itself is going to... Okay. The captain is spinning the wheel, and you can see... Well, you're not really looking at it. The ship begins to drift and pull away, not as quickly as you would hope it would. The blunderbuss, with a loud crack, a puff of black smoke goes off, and you see the guy holding the bomb get shot. You see just this spray of blood, and you hear a grunt of pain as he flinches, but he doesn't drop. The Quartermaster Hillman's crossbow thwips and misses. The bolt just goes flying off of nowhere, and it rolls back to the beginning of the turn. Avo, you know you're the only one that's going to act before the man holding the bomb can do something. And he's about 15 feet away right now.
Okay, he's... This time...
Didn't I have to make that save on my turn?
Not on your turn. You make it at the beginning of your turn when we get back.
Okay, so it would have been at the beginning of my last
Oh,
turn.
wait. The enemies went before you, yes. Your turn would have happened after that and before the ship. So, yes, Theric, make a death save.
Make it.
You made one. Okay.
I am going to...
You still hold the record as the only person making death saving throws this campaign so far.
What can I say?
Give me the same thing on aiming for the...
I would let you throw at disadvantage now.
Right,
It
that's what
won't
I'm
have
saying.
the higher armor class now because you're
Right,
much closer.
we're closer. That's
So-
why I'm...
Yep.
I'm-
So I'll just tell you this right now. It's an armor class 15 and at disadvantage to throw it at the cocktail.
Okie doke. On fire. So fucking close. Actually not that close. It's, I only got a 12 with disadvantage.
12 with disadvantage. So again, the dart whistles away. You miss the man as he kind of ducks below it. His arm cocks back, and he hurls the firebomb towards the back of the ship. That's going to be possibly very rough news for you, Theric, if it hits. So he needs a total of a 9 on the die in order to get the cocktail onto the ship. He got a 4. So he hurls back, or cocks his arm back, the Molotov cocktail comes spinning through the air, but he misjudges it. It does splash against the hull of the ship on the outside, but not on the deck where unconscious Theric. At which point, Theric, I need another death save from you. You made it. Okay, and then it is the crew and the ship that now go. Captain Fairfax. Captain Fairfax this time manages to push the ship. The ship immediately lurches into motion much more aggressively, and within moments, the gun and the crossbow do go off again, and you see a few of the men on the dock drop. But at that point, the ship is now at the end of its movement, about 100 feet away.
I have no magic left, but I am going to go attempt to tend to Theric.
Okay, you want to try to stabilize him?
Yeah.
It's a medicine check, DC 15.
That's not going to do it. You're going to have to make another.
Okay. So you reach down and are trying to stem the blood that is flowing out of Theric's
You only need to make one more,
side.
right?
You manage to remove the axe, but you're not able to do what you need to do. You know, of the two of you, you're not the medic. Your healing relies more on magic, where you know that Theric is practiced at medicine and whatnot, or at least apothecary skills.
I have a misty step left.
That'll help me.
Theric.
No.
Okay, you fail a death save. I'm going to say that after that, the crew would get to go. So, Avo, you see a hatch on the deck fling open with a crash, and Cilantro hops up with a bowl of soup, rushes over to Theric, and opens his mouth and starts dumping hot soup into his mouth. Theric, you immediately heal 4 points of health and come back with a hot mouthful of gumbo in your...
Well, that's the first time I've seen that.
But you're bleeding still a little bit from your side wound. Actually, you've got a ton of wounds on you right now.
Shoulder,
but you managed to
axe.
the soup you do gag down. It's good tasting. You're not sure exactly what happened. You know that you were unconscious, and then now that you're back. Avo, you saw magic happen with Cilantro. You don't know what kind of magic that was, but it worked.
I just look over.
Good show.
I go.
Glad to have you back with us.
Why am I the one that keeps getting hurt here?
Because you're frail.
You
You're a
hear
tiny little thing.
a shadow falls over you as you're laying on the deck of the ship. Theric, you look up and see Devereaux, First Mate Devereaux, as he's reloading his gun. He says, "I'm glad you're still with us. We're not out of the woods yet." Avo, you're standing when he says this, and you see his glance back towards the city, the Iron Song, or the Song of Iron, and you see bats start to launch themselves off of the top of a building with riders on them.
And I'm pretty well useless right here.
Batman.
And with that, as the Lonely Horizon races away into the clouds, pursued by bats, we will end that session and pick up next time under duress of bat attack. This has been Gen XP. Thanks for listening. Catch you next week.